Before a customer ever calls you, before they fill out a form, before they ever walk into your store, they've already made a decision about you.
Yes, they have.
That decision is not based on your revenue. It's not based on years in business. It's not based on your goodwill and intent and good heart. It's based on what they see. Modern buyers validate, right?
Yeah.
Before they initiate.
Correct. You want your messaging and your work and the people you're reaching out to and that you want to attract. You want all those things, I call it parallel lanes, right? You want them all to be running in the same direction side by side.
Yep.
And that's going to help you grow your business. Well, and what you're saying.
And I was there. Not Corey, you weren't even there. Like, I'm there. Right. I'm still salty to this day.
Right.
I want to call that salesman, Javon Goodman, where's my split deal? Waning.
I was...
This is the Grow Business Podcast with Corey Mosley.
You look good.
Yeah,
look a nice jacket. I like that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Glad to meet your standard. You should try one.
Yeah. I did until you dumped until you dressed us down.
You should try one over there. I don't know. This is come as you see fit.
Okay.
So you telling more about yourself than you telling about anybody.
Yeah. Well, so I'm complimenting that nice jacket.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm getting
I'm just
great.
encouraging you to do better. That's all. I'm just encouraging you, off the. I know you're not fresh off the golf course because it's 20 degrees out here. So I know it's not that. You know,
20 degrees in rain.
Fresh from the cigar lounge at 2:30, LG 007. All right, welcome. Music. Okay, good music. So I don't know exactly where we are sometimes here, but you are at the right place. Welcome to another edition, another week, another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. That's right. We are your hosts here. I'm one of them, Corey Mosley. Joined by the illustrious, magnanimous, stupendous, had a Don King moment, Lon Graham, LG 007's in the building.
Voice of Reason.
It's good to be recorded.
I gotta rethink that. We call you the voice of reason. I'm like, well, what is that? Am I unreasonable? Like, to make you the voice of reason, does that mean we're unreasonable in what we're doing?
No, I think two things can be true at the same time. Okay. I can be the voice of reason, and you can also be reasonable.
Okay. There you go. Okay. Well, you've got the soft tone. Maybe I'm more like, rawr.
Right.
Maybe that's what it is. So.
Well, it's because I don't know what I'm talking about until a topic comes up.
Yeah, that is true. That's probably the most enjoyable part because he doesn't know a thing until I announce it in 30 seconds from now. Yeah. I've got the cough still. I'm getting ready to. I'm trying to hold back a cough here. Woo! All right. Also joining us today, I'm going to see if I can talk through the cough. You ever try to talk through the cough? It ain't not today, Satan.
That's right.
So joining us as usual behind the scenes, he's doing what he does best. See how it goes. Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
Now, if you're new to the show, we put the name in the podcast. We put it right in there, kind of on the nose, so you know exactly what we do. We're here to do one thing: help you grow your business. That's right. You should be, as a listener, you should be in business already.
Yes, correct.
Although, you can get some things but this is for people who are running businesses, hopefully running profitable businesses.
Correct.
And are in positions to invest because, it's terrible to hear some great concepts and strategies. And I'm not saying invest. We're not selling you anything per se, but like just the idea, right?
Right.
Worst thing, you get a great concept and you're like, oh, I can't implement that.
Right.
But, as a small business owner, we want you thinking about ways to grow. Also, for our C-suite executives, if you've got P&L responsibilities, if you've got a position inside your larger business or your medium enterprise, your SMB, this is a place to be also because there's some strategies that you can implement, company-wide that I think will bring a lot of value. Now, we base our conversations around the 5 pillars of business growth.
Yes.
These are the 5 pillars I think any business growth challenge falls with under. And the idea is to identify, isolate, and attack.
Yes.
Yeah. Those 5 pillars, LG 007, are.
Yeah. Thank you for asking, Corey. They are mindset, sales, marketing, operations, and people.
Now, the fact that you have to glance down. So for people watching on YouTube, I really feel like at this point, as we approach 100 episodes.
Correct.
And for you, 94 or whatever, before we had a swap in or swap out, right. I should say. You should kind of know these things by heart, don't you think?
So, Corey, I have a philosophy.
Yeah.
And my philosophy is I write to remember, so I don't have to. And so because they're written down, I can remember them. So it frees me up to process information for the new information I'm getting when we start our podcast.
Yeah, for those of you watching, for those of you streaming us, hopefully on YouTube or watching us on Spotify video, soon to be Apple, by the way. Apple's going video, and we will be there.
Good.
I've got a pretty suspicious grin on my face as he laid down whatever that was he just said to deflect from that. But
okay. So my philosophy on writing to remember is this: is if I write something down, it frees my mind of having to remember.
You said that a minute ago,
right?
Yeah, I heard the talking points.
All right.
Yeah, I heard the spin on that. Old, excuse me. I heard the spin on that. So, okay. We also go deeper in these 5 pillars. My latest book, Position for Growth, now available on Amazon. Still doing well. I'm still very pleased with the response. And super happy about that. So today we're gonna get right to it. And it's so funny. Well, because I sparked the concept here after something that literally just happened.
Okay.
About 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And that became the topic for today.
Perfect.
And I got an email from somebody with kind of a pitch in there and, interesting kind of concepts and things. So I clicked on their website and you know where this is going.
Lord have mercy.
Right. The website was a bit of a mess.
Okay.
So I've moved on.
Okay.
So today we're talking about judgment.
Yes.
They judged you before you said hello. We're going to talk about the 5 things customers evaluate before doing business with you.
Yes.
So before a customer ever calls you, before they fill out a form, before they ever walk into your store, they've already made a decision about you.
Yes, they have.
That decision is not based on your revenue. It's not based on years in business. It's not based on your goodwill and intent and good heart. It's based on what they see. And here's the truth.
Yes.
Customers don't experience your potential. Go to the camera on this. They experience your presentation. I want you to think, I want everybody, I want, that's good going on. We need,
when the church say amen.
That's good for that one. We need like a Campbell's soup one too, like, good. We need that.
There you go, yeah.
We need, but not from that guy on the internet who says it. Willie H knows who I'm talking about. But that's the deal.
Yes.
Right? It's not, it's so interesting. Now, like, I think to this person who emailed me, I don't know, maybe I'm being short-sighted, but it is what it is.
Right.
And anybody who says they don't judge is a liar.
Right.
Point blank. It's really that simple because we judge everything.
Correct.
Now, you may judge differently. You may approach how you judge. We judge people by their name.
Yes.
We judge people by their ethnicity.
Yes.
We judge people by the side of town that they say they live on.
Yes.
We judge people. We're looking at shoes.
Correct.
We're looking at manicure. We're looking at nails. We're looking at all these things. Now you can decide what matters to you.
Correct.
But don't for a minute. This ain't the TikTok. We listen, but we don't judge.
Right.
We absolutely do.
Well, 100%, Corey. And the difference in today's world and the world 20 years ago, really early internet and even before that.
Yep.
We've been judging since the beginning of time.
Sure.
What we judged before the internet was what we saw when you showed up.
Right.
What we judge now is what we see before we ever see you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, bingo. We judge names.
Yeah.
Last names.
Yes.
There's a whole caste system like in the Indian culture. Your last name out of the gate can determine how you're viewed in society.
Right.
So so judgment is everywhere.
Right. It is something we do to quickly process information.
And it creates bias, and that's a whole nother show.
Correct.
And a whole nother expertise that people have, far greater than me on that. But that's the fact of the matter. So if we can agree that we get judged,
yes,
why not? Now, if you're somebody above reproach, if you're somebody that doesn't care, right? You've achieved everything you want in life. You've got your Bill Gates, or just at some level that it doesn't matter, right? You can. Most of us are not at that point,
correct.
And you could get caught in the romance of the I gotta be me, and I'm not gonna do this or that for people or whatever. This is a business show. Right. I'm not talking about your personal life. You're good with your gig or whatever. Go be you and be free and dare to be great or not or whatever. But they're looking.
Yes.
I mean, that's it. I mean, there's whole segments. I mean, there's just whole segments of people that are making buying decisions. Oh, well, if somebody's going to judge me for how I look, I don't want them as a customer. Okay.
Well,
okay. That's just, to me, that's just an excuse for not caring.
Correct.
Not caring about how your website looks. Not caring about, some of these things. Not caring about how you're coming into a room.
Yeah, and
congratulations, you lost weight. Get a new shirt.
Right.
Right? See the big necks, the coats, 3 sizes big. Congratulations, you're getting healthy.
Right.
But now you got to go.
Get one that fits.
Correct.
Right. Well, and what we're talking about too is, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this, is alignment. Does how you show up align with who you want to attract?
Yeah.
So that's it, right? And that's where people get a little bit sticky or confused is they say, well, if they don't like the way I look, then I don't want to do business with them. Well, it depends. Right. If you look sloppy, then you're going to do business with sloppy people. If you want sloppy people, though, aren't usually the ones spending money. Right. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, again, and we make it, and because we have a branding element to us, like individually, we lead with that many times as appearance, but websites, a tool, marketing, a business card, social media, anything. So actually we're getting to number one. So number one is your digital first impression.
Okay, good.
So what's getting judged in those scenarios? Your website, your Google reviews, your social media presence, your consistency, things like your last post date. Like if your last Instagram post was 2023,
right.
I mean, don't even be present.
Right.
Because it's saying you don't value the platform. Now, what does that say to somebody who values the platform, who finds you there?
Right.
Right. Or stumbles upon you, gets excited and goes to look for you. I love the social media people that DM me wanting to help us or do certain things for us. And then I go to their social media and it's doo-doo.
That bad.
Right?
Correct.
I don't get it. Your website looks like it was built in 2014, which would be great if it was 2014.
Correct.
I don't know, because to me that sends a message that you're not active,
right?
You're not modern, you're not growing, and you may not be stable.
Well, and you might not be doing, but the interpretation that somebody's going to have that goes to your Instagram account and your last post was 2023. Or goes to your website and it was last updated in 2014 BC, before COVID.
Right.
They're going to think that you're no longer in business.
Right.
Because you're not active. Right. So they're going to move on.
And what I think people don't get is how simple the psychology is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not complex.
Mm-mm.
It's a simple, basic equation.
Right.
If your digital presence feels outdated, consumers will think you're outdated.
Right.
It's just that simple.
It's linear.
It's not complex. It's not this complex. Oh, I wonder if we're going to do bit. It's ugh.
Right. Yeah, it's linear.
Right. So, I don't know anybody that's not looking for innovation. They're not looking to do it faster. They're not looking to do it cheaper. They're not looking for a nicer experience. They're not looking for. I mean, everybody's scrambling for ways to increase the customer experience.
Yes.
Even and I'm laughing because I'm flying Frontier Airlines.
Okay.
For the first time.
Okay.
And I was on their site. Have you ever flown Frontier?
A long time ago.
Okay, yeah. So they don't have a first class.
Okay.
Right? But so what they've done, I mean, I gotta give you an A for effort on this. So to create a first class-esque experience to squeeze a little more dollars. Now it's not the $400 bump for first class that might be on Delta. It's like for an extra $24, you can get our first class experience. So the way they've solved that is it's still the same 3-seat thing that you have throughout a plane. It's just a guaranteed middle seat is not bookable.
Oh, okay.
So I get this, I'm sitting up, so I didn't pay the extra $24 because the plane looked pretty empty. So I think I'll be okay. But so they, in their own way, otherwise they'd have to tear out the seats, order seats, spend tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to put the big seats in and make it a 2 and 2 to then try to get more money. So it was just like, no, let's keep it there, but let's eliminate the middle seat.
Right.
So everybody, because now it gives a customer an option to have a greater convenience. Right. Whether that's just not having the middle, guaranteeing that, willing to invest. Maybe they're larger, take a little more space. They don't want to be uncomfortable. Right. Make another person uncomfortable. So they're trying to solve a problem. I'm not commenting on how successful it is or even how great the idea is. I mean, they came up with something. How can we squeeze some more dollars out of this thing without having to reinvent the wheel? Right. Because again, we want faster, we want more convenient, we want cheaper, we want to get more, juice out of the squeeze, right?
And what they've done is they recognize the anxiety that people in aisle and window seats have. Every time somebody's walking down the aisle, wondering, is that the person that's going to sit next to me? Yeah. They've eliminated that anxiety. And for $24 each way, you can eliminate that anxiety. Right. It's like buying insurance. So they're a cost-effective airline, and they've said, well, we're going to offer you an opportunity to have a little bit better experience, and it's not going to cost you a whole lot without us having to completely rebrand or change what we're doing. Right.
So this might be a guy I want to work with.
They have another cool thing where for like an extra $20, it's insurance, but it's insurance against delays.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was fascinating.
Interesting.
So if your flight is delayed more than 2 hours, you have the option, they'll pay up to $600 to. Now, I haven't experienced the airline yet, so we'll do a post on that. I'm just going through my initial experience, going through their website, booking a ticket, that whole process. But they'll give you up to $600 to get on another flight if they delay. Or if it's delayed and you continue, they give you what appears to be your money back. Or the equivalent, maybe in the form of a credit or something.
Like a credit.
I just thought that was, little innovative things there to pay attention to in terms of how I judge them. Right. So now I know they're an economy airline, but now I'm judging them. Okay, this is pretty interesting. Right. This is a pretty good attempt. So I have a positive impression. We'll see what happens, as I complete the process. But versus, watching somebody fight on a Spirit airplane. Right. Well, and come to blows.
Well, and here's
yikes.
What they've done well, at least in the beginning. Right. And this is why you're talking about it. What they've done well is they've aligned all of these things with their identity, and so it's believable. Right. They didn't say, oh, well, we're going to put you in first class, or we're going to put you up in first class hotel or whatever. They're going to say, these are the things that we can do, and this is what we can control. Right. And if something is beyond our control, this is how we're going to deal with it. And it's all aligned with our identity, which makes it believable. Right.
No, 100%. So we're talking digital. So let's just run through this right now. What are we talking about? Because basic things, if you're paying attention, if you're not playing Ron Popeil, right? If we're not playing the set it and forget it game. I mean, that's just the truth. That's the approach that so many people take. And everybody, I know you got your favorite line, looking in the mirror on 2 grounds or whatever the thing is. I'll simplify it. I'll simplify that. It happens to everybody. Like, I had to tell my web developer, like, hey, it's 2026. Right. Change the copyright, dude. Right. Like, now he should have known to do that, but okay. So we're not perfect. Correct. Vigilance matters, paying attention matters. So audit your website. I mean, look at the website on a weekly basis to make sure something's not broken, or have somebody doing that, scanning it, or having AI scan it. Right. I don't care how you get, multiple ways to get it done, but do that audit to make sure, particularly on the homepage, because then, great. You've got a 300-page website. Most people won't dig into that piece.
Right.
So they're looking at the homepage. They're looking at that. So how do we do that? 2, do we have some things that are just outdated, like photos?
Mm-hmm.
That ain't you, girlfriend. Right?
Right.
That's not you today.
Right.
Are you updating your headshots? Are you updating your visuals?
Correct.
We have a video production unit here. So what are you doing with that? But
right.
how many years has it been? So maybe you look different, up or down.
Right.
But, people deserve a fair estimate, a fair look at what that looks like. So are you responding to reviews, good or bad?
Right.
In a meaningful way. Because I really hate seeing those, oh, thank you for your feedback. We wish we could have done better. Please keep us in mind. Like this just cut and paste.
Right.
And everybody kind of hates that. Like you're Ron Popeeling it.
Right.
So, and are you posting at least once a week to get some consistent momentum going? And finally, this is so simple, but what's your stuff look like on mobile?
Yeah. That's so important.
Right? Is it a disaster? So, modern buyers validate, right?
Yeah.
Before they initiate.
Correct.
I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it just is what it is.
Yeah.
So, if you lose them at this type of stage, you never know they existed.
Right. They're not getting to you.
Right.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. It's, all of it. And I go back to, what we're talking about now is a digital version of what our parents talked about and what their parents talked about and what their parents talked about is first impression matters, impression matters, and people are going to judge based on the impression that you give them. Right. And all the things that we're talking about are what are people judging?
Yeah.
And if you're aware of those things, then you can do something about it.
Right.
And so we're asking you to be aware of it.
Voice of Greece.
All right. I think he was waiting on that. He was like,
I earned that one.
Are we going to get one there?
Right.
All right. Number 2.
Okay.
Number 2, your professionalism signals. Okay. Like, dude, landscapinggenius@gmail.com. I'm not talking about anybody personally. I mean, if that's your URL and you're a listener, right. I just made that up off the top of my head.
Right.
But like it's not that it doesn't cost that much to have a branded email.
Correct.
It's simple stuff. Oh, Corey, no one's ever cared about that. You don't know the answer.
Right.
That's the danger here.
Correct.
You don't know who didn't care. No one sent you an email and said, hey, just so you know, we didn't choose you because your email was, TommyBuildsCars@AOL.com. It's more than that, but it's such a small thing to just elevate your professionalism, particularly for those who are empowered to do their own thing, right? If you're a State Farm agent,
right,
your address is at State Farm. Like that's not an option. You
Correct.
can't be Hot Rod Annie or Annie Slangs Policies at gmail.com, right? you don't have a choice there. But if you're operating under your own domain and your own authority, like why wouldn't you have that?
That illustrates the point. The reason State Farm has at statefarm.com or whatever it is because it's validating, right? It validates you and your professionalism. I was a couple of years ago, I was talking to a podcast host about doing a podcast interview. And one of the requirements and this is somebody who interviews speakers and coaches and, content experts. And one of the requirements was, he goes, you got to have your own website. You got to have your own email. Right. So I've got to be able to communicate with you in a professional email. Right. So if you're at gmail.com, you're not serious enough about coaching and consulting and speaking.
Right.
And so that was a qualifier. And that was something that he voiced. Whereas what we're saying is it's a qualifier for other people too. They're just not telling you. Right.
And if you don't care, why? You know what I mean? It's just, cause it's just not that much effort, So, you can reach Lon at longraham.com. You reach me at cm@corymos.com. It's not that complicated.
Right. And and like you said, and I apologize to cut you off, if you have a website already, then
that's the kicker.
Pay the $100.
But it's also double exposure.
Right.
I can't go check you out at longraham@gmail.com.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
I can't do anything with that.
That's right.
So, but your URL kind of it's an obvious progression, right?
Correct.
Oh, he's got it on the website. Let me take a look at that.
Right.
See what he does. See how he helps sales leaders and those type of things. So, so your email domain. We're talking about professionalism signals. That's number 2. So typos.
Yeah.
Inconsistent branding.
Yes.
Unreturned calls.
Mm.
Slow response times.
Yes.
And it's so prolific in the service industry.
Okay.
Like service-based businesses, the painter.
Oh, yeah.
That gets back to you in his leisure or gets in there. I mean, I had a painter tell me, just so you know, Corey, I probably won't be following up with you because we're so busy. So if you want to do something, we'd love to work with you, but I'm probably not going to follow up.
Interesting.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Hope that continued.
Yeah.
Hope that busyness can continue on and on and on, because I can't do any business with you.
Right.
So how many people do you give that spiel to that's like rude?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, people.
I guess he told me up front.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, he feels better about it.
Right.
You can feel, but what he's done is justified why he's not going to call you back. I'm so busy, I'm not going to call you back. Or the reality of it, though, is that professionals live on constructed schedules.
Right.
And so we make decisions. So if you're not going to call me back, I'm not going to sit around waiting for you. So I'm going to go get busy.
Right.
Go get busy being my busy.
Right.
And if you want my business, then you'll call me back and tell me that you're interested in my business, and we'll get on each other's calendar.
Right.
So that we can plan it. Because otherwise, I'm just going to keep going, and you're not going to be a part of that.
And it becomes back to the simplicity of it. This conversation about number 2 is a pure play on the subconscious mind. And what I mean by that is it's very simple.
Yeah.
If the equation, if you can't manage this,
right,
this being branding, spelling correctly, returning call, like if you can't manage that, then how can they manage your business that you want to give them?
Let the church say amen.
Because I would argue, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Think of it in terms of an interview.
Right.
That you've already prepared your resume for somebody to look at. Not, and we're operating under the expectation that you've identified your ideal customer profile, that you're targeting the people that you want to do business with. So your website, your email, these are resumes for people that you want to do business with. And if you have misspellings on your resume, that's going to be a disqualifier because they've got other resumes that they're looking at.
Right. Sure. I don't think there's any, I think this is just a simple statement.
Okay.
Customers equate sloppiness with big risk.
Yeah.
Right? I'm risking giving you my business, my insurance business. I'm risking giving you my realtors, salespeople, car salespeople, right? Service providers. People talk about, we've got a local big HVAC company in this area that's well known, and they're overpriced. Oh, they're overpriced. I know what I'm getting.
Yeah,
I'm getting a text message, an email. I'm getting a follow-up phone call. I'm getting a picture of who's coming.
Correct.
So I don't have just some rando in an unmarked truck showing up, right? They're coming in, they're putting on the footsies.
Right.
They're coming professionally. They've got professional systems.
Right.
So, yes, is there a guy, can Earl do it cheaper? I remember we're going to have a guy do some flooring, and he was highly recommended 2 offices ago, or my previous 1 or 2 offices ago. And I was like, great, it's going to be save some money. I'm like, okay, fantastic. I'm ready to go. I just need you to send over a copy of your insurance because my landlord have to have that on file, since you're coming to refloor the whole thing.
Right.
Crickets. So this guy's been running around, and he's been in flooring for 40 years, probably as long as I've been alive.
All right.
No insurance?
Right.
That's just dumb.
So your whole business has been predicated on side work?
Right.
Like that's just, I mean, I just think that's a tragedy. So it wasn't, so yeah, I mean, we ended up having to pay more money, but it just, cause it wasn't worth it for me.
Correct.
To create, I'm saving something in the short term. I'm going to pay a little more, but now I've got somebody that, is insured,
right,
is actionable, right? I can take some action if something's not right. This guy here, what am I doing? He's, yeah, I don't.
Well, and
you take it over.
what all of this talks about, the undercurrent or the underlying theme of all of this is you have to establish confidence. People buy confidence.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you're going to pay a little bit more money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, up front, because you're investing in confidence.
Right. You're
investing in that they've been trained, that they know what they're going to do, how they're going to show up, who's going to show up, how you're going to be communicated with. That instills confidence that the people you're doing business with are going to do what they tell you they're going to do.
Right.
And when you're done, you're going to get the result that you want.
Right.
This might be a guy I want to work with.
So simple fixes here. Some simple basic stuff. Standardize your brand fonts, your colors, your logos. I understand you're a single practitioner and you don't have the complexity of a Starbucks logo or the brand complexity of that. But again, it's just guidelines so you show up consistently. Because if you're showing up consistently from a branding perspective, that leads into you showing up consistently for the client or for your product or for your service.
Right.
So again, something as simple as a professional domain email. Why take the shortcut? I instantly downgrade somebody when they present something like that to me in a B2B environment.
Right.
So my personal email, I have a Gmail personal email.
Correct.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about, B2B or B2C, but coming from my end.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. So how are you using systems? Do you have autoresponders? Do you have workflows that touch base or create those opportunities with a client? And also, what's your internal, like when we talk about response times, what's the internal rule? So I was talking to a vendor we're doing business now. He says, Corey, I return all emails. I reply to all emails within 24 hours. So, what do I want him responding to me faster? But I got to respect there is a policy and here it is.
Right.
So, so your answer to having a policy doesn't have to be ASAP.
Right.
But it needs to exist so you can set those expectations.
Correct.
And then finally, get an outside view on your communications. You're like, look at that on a quarterly basis. Have someone do that audit. I mean, you've got people. There's a whole company out there that does nothing. I can't remember what it's called. I got it bookmarked, like Ugly Baby or something.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever seen those? That? So you send them your website, and then they send it to their review farm, and they record, you heat map and record what people do on your website, where they go or don't go, and kind of what their feedback is.
Okay.
It's crowdsourced like feedback.
Right.
And it comes back and says, hey, here's 10 things that, are stopping your conversions or hurting you or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, having somebody audit those communications, particularly if you are the writer, you are doing all those things there, it just makes good sense to do that. Professionalism reduces perceived risk.
Correct.
Right? That's what I want. I mean, right? They're saying, hey, is this somebody I can do business with? Their company, their product, their service. And, from a buying perspective, anything that we're buying is always about risk reduction.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? I gravitate towards Sony because I have expectations that TV is going to perform.
Correct.
I don't feel the same way about some of these other brands.
Right.
Where it's a lot, I don't have that confidence.
Right.
But they help me be confident from their branding, from their track record, from how they engage.
Correct. Yeah, and experiences too, right? Like they give you enough to have confidence in the credibility, that they're credible,
right? That
they're going to do what they say they're doing. And then they deliver on those things.
Yeah, 100%. All right, I love it. Let's move on.
Okay.
Number 3, your relevance and modernness.
Okay.
or no. Yes. No, yes, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Modernity.
Okay.
Modernity.
Modernity.
Modernity. Modernity. That's why I said modernist.
That works. Yeah. That works.
I was watching a video, the actor Boris Cujo.
Okay.
You know who that is? Bald-head guy, light skin. His last thing was Station 19, the show that was on ABC.
Okay.
Married to Nicole Ari Parker.
Okay.
Beautiful Nicole Ari Parker.
So.
Yeah. I interviewed him on TV. He was like the spokesperson for colonoscopies or something. But he was on another show, and his first language was German.
Okay.
But he had to then learn English. So he said, he can't say the word Germany. I mean, he can't say the word January.
Okay.
So of course he's like, I can't say the first month of the. So of course they chided him that no, we want to hear, and he just chopped it all up.
Oh, wow.
Because he really couldn't.
Right.
It was like January, and so I had a moment like that.
A moment like that, sure.
Early. All right, what do customers judge when we're talking about this? Well, do you look current?
Okay.
Right. So, do you understand today's market? Do you sound like you understand today's market? Okay. Are you speaking today's language? Are you using modern tools?
Okay. Like
the guy sending the picture. I think that's cool. Who's coming? It's because what service person is coming to your house is a concern for people. So they're using technology to do that. But even we've done some AI shows and things, but I'm going deeper into that world, particularly in automotive. I'm spending a lot of time now in that world and coming out to educate in that space.
Okay.
Which I didn't jump to do.
Right.
Because I don't, it's not want to be an expert in all things.
Right.
I mean, certainly, and AI as a use as a business growth tool fits in my wheelhouse. But I wanted to make sure I was speaking the language and understanding the marketing and really, because it moves so fast,
right?
That before I start weighing in, as I am now, that I had the right footing to do so.
Okay.
Because people do count on me in a lot of different ways to have the, if I came on here talking about, dial-up modems, people would go, this guy's out of touch, right?
Right.
So, because this is a thing, I mean, LG, even established businesses really get killed in this area, You've got, you may have 25 years experience.
Right.
But if you look like you're stuck in 09.
Right.
It wasn't too long ago, guys who still had the flip phones while everybody had moved on. And they were at an event and the instructor observed the guy had a flip phone. And he said, "Oh, hey man, can I borrow you? Can I look at your phone for a moment?" And he said, "Oh," he gave him the phone. He took it, and because the door wouldn't stay open.
Oh, okay.
So he took it and put his flip phone. Very ballsy.
Oh, man.
And took the guy's flip phone and made it hold the door open.
Right. So it was like the door jam.
Yeah.
Oh,
Needless to say, he went out and got a smartphone.
Sure.
After that, I guess the level of embarrassment. That's pretty ballsy.
That is pretty.
Those them fighting words.
Yeah.
That could be, right? You wedging my thing in the kind of embarrass me in front of a group of people. So, yeah, in that situation, just that relevance piece, people will choose someone less experienced,
right,
that presents though as more current.
Correct.
And that's, I just do that right there. I didn't have no words. I just, yeah.
I had a
into the ground. Yeah.
I had a geometry teacher in 8th grade that would walk around doing that.
Oh yeah, did they?
Yeah, it was like his way of thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, great dude. It was such,
I love it.
But it reminds me of that. So you're right. Is people they'll look at currency in terms of timeliness and say, well, they look like they're paying attention,
right?
And they may not be as good. They may not have as much experience, and they may not do nearly as good a work.
Yep.
But they're not buying the work, they're buying the perception of your ability to do the work.
Right. That's right.
And so if they believe that you can do it, then they're going to hire the person that they think can do it.
Right. And again, you've got great experience. You've got these things, and that's fantastic. Right. Now, certainly experience certainly can attract attention.
Correct.
Right? Credibility, authority. I mean, we built the whole video business around that idea.
Right.
But relevance.
Correct.
Is what will ultimately close the deal.
Right.
So this might be a guy I want to work with.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the razzle dazzle all day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're razzle dazzling in the wrong direction,
correct,
you're irrelevant and it's game over.
Yeah.
And that can be over engineered. We talked about in the previous episode about AI killing the business because you're trying to do too much, you're over engineering. So but let's keep it practical. Update your service descriptions.
Yeah.
Like make sure you're doing that at least on a yearly basis.
Correct.
Like the what you do, because there's terminology and modern things that people want to hear and expect to hear now, right? So are you referencing current trends in the market?
Right.
Somebody talking to me about Periscope, which has been dead for years. Right. Like, back when I was on Periscope, modern much?
Right, exactly.
So like photography, customer testimonials. Like, I don't want to see your testimonial from 9 years ago. Oh, here, look what people had to say about us.
Right.
In 720p.
Right.
It looked grainy. Like hurt my eyes. Showing me some video in 480p from the heyday.
Correct. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, the big thing is if you have these things, then update them.
Right.
And if you're not willing to update them, then get rid of them.
I can't go through life driving through your rearview mirror.
That's right.
I mean, people want confidence that you can help them out. Right. Not that you were once good.
Right. Yeah. They want to know that you, yes, exactly.
Yeah, like right now.
Correct. Can you
help me? Yeah. Can you solve my problems of today?
Correct.
I mean, and listen, I come, particularly in the speaking world, you've got legends. You've got people that are just legends.
Correct.
And they've got great stories.
Yeah.
And, I've been in many of those conversations, the reminiscing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when? Do you remember this? And
as
I've reconnected with some people recently from 20 years ago and these types of things.
Right.
An old business partner that we're now doing some stuff together. And we're rehashing.
Yeah.
Remember that night? Remember we were in New York? Remember when that happened and this happened and that happened? And, you're having a nostalgic moment, right?
Right.
But we're not basing our future on that piece. So I think that's just very important when I hear people rattle off. I've some calls with people rattling off their resumes. And, I used to do this and I led this and $1 billion. I had $1 billion book of business on those other things. Okay, what are you doing now?
Right.
Like, what's the deal now? I'm not questioning your credibility. Thou protest too much, as they say. So, it's just a confidence play there.
Yeah, and it's such a great example. Somebody you did business with, we'll say 20 years ago, and now you're reconnecting. Retelling all those old stories, what that does is it reestablishes the foundation that you were built on before.
Sure.
And what you're doing is, okay, this is who we were and this is how we work together. Now let's talk about what we can do moving forward.
Right. Marshall Goldsmith's book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There.
Correct.
I mean, it's no truer words, particularly in this market, which brings me to number 4.
Okay.
And that's social proof and credibility.
Yes.
This is a simplistic breakdown. This is not a groundbreaking show. This is a wake-up show.
Right.
Like, have I let this stuff slip by the wayside? Am I not paying attention this more?
Right.
Did I take a set it and forget it situation?
Right.
Can I go out and look at myself in this capacity and say, do I like how I am being judged? Do I like how I'm being judged?
Right.
As a mechanism. So social proof and credibility. Before a customer buys, what are they looking at? Testimonials, reviews, case studies, awards, media features, certifications, client logos. Who have you worked with?
Right.
And it's just foolish to diminish or dismiss the idea that you should be putting in a little work to do that. Because when people don't see evidence, they hesitate.
Right.
Woo. When the church say amen.
Oh, we're talking about confidence and credibility, right? And evidence establishes confidence and credibility. Right. One of the things that, and I'm going to lean, we've talked about service-based businesses. I'm going to lean a little bit to the coaching and consulting and speaking world.
Sure.
There are people that'll say, well, I don't want to promote myself. I don't want to seem like I'm overly promoting myself, or I don't want to seem like I'm doing that. And the reality of it is...
Yes, you don't want to do business.
Well, that's right. The reality of it is the gap of what you think you're doing and what you're actually doing is huge.
Right.
And what you think you're doing is certainly not nearly enough to validate what you're capable of.
Right.
And so...
You and I both know, if we gave Dr. Willie Jolly 5 minutes of airtime right now, he's going to tell people to go winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com.
100%.
At least 3 of those minutes,
right.
We're going to get some golden information.
That's right.
He's going to tell you where to go. He's going to tell you to pick up his latest book, and he's going to tell you to get 2.
Correct.
One for you, one for a friend.
That's right.
I know it as sure as I'm sitting here.
Right.
And that's why he's still at the top of his game.
That's 100% right. That's why he's a Hall of Fame speaker and a Cavitt Award winner.
That's why he's at the top of his game. And that's why he continues to sell books. Correct.
Right.
If not you, then who?
Perfect.
Right.
Right.
If not you, then who?
Correct.
I mean, I just I got this from, and I credit Grant Cardone. It's malpractice for you not to make sure everybody knows what you do or how you can help them.
Right.
In as many ways as possible. It's malpractice.
Right.
Woe be the guy. And I never forget the wake up call selling cars when I first started selling cars. I was still in high school. I was on the cusp of getting out of high school, and I watched a friend of mine. William knows this story, I think. Finney is his nickname. I watched him. We had 2 buildings in the dealership.
Good.
I was in one of the buildings, and I'm walking up to, shoot the breeze with the guys in the other building, and I see this guy's dad getting out the car. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, we're in there buying a car. I said, from who?
Right.
I said, dude, did you not know I work? Like, shame on me.
Right. Correct.
Shame on me.
Correct.
You didn't have any idea what I did now. And now I'm watching some other guy get a commission. I'm sure they probably took their heads off. So I'm watching some other guy get possibly a monster commission.
Right.
And I didn't have the opportunity to, what? I'm talking about this 25 years later because it was just a wake-up call. Like, shame on me that you didn't know what I did. Not that you bought a car from somewhere else unrelated. And I was like, oh, hey, I work over here. You came to the place of business where I work.
Right.
Just amazing.
Well, and what you're saying.
And I was there. Not Corey, you weren't even there. Like, I'm there.
Right.
I'm still salty to this day.
Right.
I want to call that salesman, Javon Goodman. Where's my split deal? Shout out to Javon. Where's my split deal?
Right.
Those were my people. I don't even know what the soundbite was. You just
with me, brother. With me.
Pay me in paper, cash, currency,
and bringing it all back to the update, right?
Yeah.
He didn't buy a car from you because he didn't know that you didn't update him on what you're doing adequately.
Yeah, sure.
You did it afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he buys a car 5 years
too
and maybe
little too late.
Right. So
to try again. Too little too late. I if somebody asked me single most thing I love about having my own podcast is the ability to sing or say whatever I want to say, whatever I feel. If I wanted the next 20 minutes. Now, I mean, our viewership would probably, if I try to take on a full song, but I do like that.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
But to your point,
right?
Again, we make it real simple here at the Grow Business Podcast. If you don't prove it, customers will just assume you can't.
Right.
And you better believe it.
Right. And if you don't tell them what you're doing, they're not going to know.
Well, Corey, you know what? I'm starting out. I don't have clients. I don't have customers. Well, you better have some authority. You better have a thought leadership interview on you better have something that is helping you tell that story. All the more reason not to shortcut what your website looks, what your brand is, how you present yourself.
100%.
And I'm not, we love like fake it till you make it. That's not really the play, because you shouldn't be faking
Right.
looking professional, having a professional presentation of your products and services, having professional, Corey, I'm not a salesman, I'm a baker. Okay, good luck.
Right.
Good luck. You and the 5 people will know that you've got the best cookies. All right,
you and your family.
Let's do some strategies, because we got to get to number 5 and get out of here.
Let's go.
So if you have testimonials, can you add 5 to 10 testimonials to your homepage? Right? Can you create some short video testimonials? Right. And the killer here is all you have to do is ask.
Mm-hmm.
People who are delighted and happy with your product or service, all you have to do is ask. Yes, I'm shy. I don't really want to get a camera. Okay, on to the next. But you have to ask.
Correct.
Highlight client results. Somebody has a win. You got specific numbers. Showcase partnerships, people you're working with, things that lend credit. Oh, if they're working with so-and-so, that must be right. Leverage someone else's credibility in that model, right? That means, you're working with so-and-so, you must be legit.
Correct.
Right? Sometimes it's just that simple. And then, if you have awards, if you have recognition, display it prominently. Not, we like to be humble here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cash that.
Yeah. And you're going back to getting testimonials, and whether written or video's best, written is next best. What we don't fully appreciate sometimes is if we're doing a good job for somebody, they want us to be able to continue to do a good job for them. They're going to want to tell people that we're doing a good job for them so that we can continue to do business with them, because they know that if they promote the work that we're doing together, somebody else can benefit from that, which means we stay in business.
Right.
And it's this subconscious, and it gives people an opportunity to be happy and be happy for you and contribute to your business. People want to recognize good work.
Mm-hmm.
And so ask them, video, hey, will you give me a video testimony? Well, I'm not real comfortable. Okay, well, will you write something?
Right. Sure. Right. I mean, to your point, they most of the time they want to. I mean, they want to do that. And again, we end with simplicity. Credibility accelerates trust.
Right.
And trust will accelerate revenue.
Yes.
And you better believe
this guy can help me.
Maybe this guy can help me.
I made my own. It says delay. It's like an overseas delay. Like, hello. Hello. What did they say? All right. Number five.
Perfect.
So, I think this one is huge and gets swept under the rug. And that's energy.
Yeah.
And confidence. Customers judge your tone,
correct,
your enthusiasm, your posture, your clarity, your certainty, all those things in the process.
Correct.
And you and I both know as we sit here, uncertainty repels buyers.
Oh my goodness. Because if you're not certain about what you're talking about in your business, they're certain that you can't do it. So if you can't demonstrate that you know what you're talking about, that you look like you know what you're talking about, and that you can deliver on the things that you're communicating.
One.
Right. And look, here's we're not dismissing a big deal opportunity that's going to make you, it's going to get your heart rate going because it matters. Your heart rate's going to get going because it matters.
Sure.
But if you know what you're talking about, that's what's going to be your default. If you're an expert in an area, your default is to your expertise, and that's going to come through. What you got to do though is you got to talk about it, you got to practice it, and you got to deliver on it.
That's right.
Voice of reason.
And I mean, confidence, just like dating, is attractive.
Right.
So the opposite of that though is if you seem desperate, disorganized, hesitant, defensive. I mean, these are all the things that go in that situation.
Right.
Because that creates an immediate feeling.
Correct.
And then that creates a situation. Because customers don't just buy your service, they're buying your certainty,
Mm-hmm.
right? That if I make this investment, I will get the outcome that I'm looking at. I will solve my problem.
Yeah. And there's one other thing that there's this underlying piece to that, Corey, and people are buying an experience.
Mm.
And if you make it difficult, you make the experience difficult there to communicate and work with and get, Corey, I don't call you back. I'm just so busy. I don't call you back. Well,
Right.
that's a 0 level experience.
Yeah.
I want to feel like you're going to do a good job.
Right.
I want to enjoy the experience of working with you because I got lots of options.
Right.
And so if you don't give me confidence, if you don't give me something to believe in,
right.
that I'm going to have a good experience, not only the outcome, but the process to get to the outcome.
Right.
We want to have a good experience and less friction. So make it easy for them is what we're talking about. And the way you make it easy for them is you give them a good impression up front.
Right.
Let the church say amen.
So when we talk about this, what are we talking about? Well,
Right.
are you practicing your value proposition weekly?
Right.
Right. So it's natural. It's can you remove filler words from your presentation, or again, that confidence there?
Right.
You know, someone was talking to me about, you know, the Gen Z folks that can't even make eye contact with you.
Interesting.
I met a 17, 18-year-old the other day, and I had a guy, weakest handshake I've ever seen. Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Like, that's not confident.
Mm-mm.
You know, so how are we practicing? We're practicing our value proposition,
Right.
removing filler words, speaking outcomes, right? Not features. Lead sales conversations. You're getting into your wheelhouse.
Right.
Lead sales conversations confidently, and also, you know, when it comes to pricing, don't apologize for costs are going up. You know, cost of goods, things are getting expensive out there.
Right.
People want to hire stability.
They do.
They don't want to hire chaos.
Right.
And they want the confident. I mean, just like why the confident guy can win.
Right. Confident business cancer. And we talk about
whatever. We're here for everybody. Confident woman can win the confident woman,
person.
The man win the man,
right.
and the man win the woman.
Right.
We're covering all bases.
And one of the things that, you know, I develop salespeople, and I work with sales leaders to develop salespeople. And one of the things that you can do as a business owner, you can do as somebody who's responsible for driving revenue in your business,
right,
is record your pitch.
Yeah.
And listen to it.
Yeah.
And we all walk around with a smartphone.
Yeah.
And there's a recording device on there. Record what you're saying. Even if all you do is record it in the phone.
Right.
If you want to video it, it's even better.
Right.
But record it in the phone so that you know what you sound like to somebody. And it allows you to shape your messaging, and you get more confident,
right,
because you know what you sound like in addition to knowing what you're talking about.
Maybe
all of
this
that.
guy can help me.
I like it. Yeah, no, I like that. You know, I think this was an important conversation today.
Yes.
Because the hard truth is many business owners right now are losing deals right now, not because they're bad, not because the product's bad or the service bad, but because they're not optimized. Right? I mean, in a crowded marketplace, this is the key too.
Right.
In a crowded marketplace, small perception gaps create or can create massive revenue leaks. And for people in low margin businesses where a point here and a point there makes a big difference, can make the difference between profitability and loss.
Correct.
Profit and loss can make the difference. Man, these are some layup areas that we can potentially leverage and treat today's market like it should be, right? Presentation isn't vanity in today's market. It's really velocity.
Yeah.
When you think of it.
Absolutely.
So it's just not an area to shortcut. I don't know. Because at the end of the day, LG, you don't know who walked away.
Oh, right.
This woman's going to go, oh, this guy didn't return my email. He can't be bothered with us, whatever. No, I read your email. Thought you had something interesting to say. I went to your website to learn more. But your inability to invest in that area,
right,
to care, because you're not an online this isn't an online business. So people think, their websites can just be whatever. It doesn't matter because,
correct.
Well, we're not selling anything online. We don't need anything fancy or whatever. No, I'm not telling. This is not a conversation about going to build a $20,000 website.
Right.
But you can take a little more care into what it looks like, how it leads people, and what it makes people think about you. Because everything we talked about here today is fixable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Maria Folio says her book, Everything's Figure Outable.
Oh, okay.
But there's a class, there's a course, there's a coach, there's ways to get.
Right.
You want to get better at speaking? Start at Toastmasters.
Right.
You want to get better at your elevator pitch? You want to do those things? Get started with there. Go to take a Dale Carnegie class. Go take a Sandler class for selling. I mean, there's so many resources out there.
Correct.
Free, paid, high skilled. I mean, DIY.
Right.
Pick your poison. Like that's a whole other episode. But you can get somebody to order your website for cheap that can give you some insightful things.
Right.
That if you have to fix yourself, you fix yourself. So and again, we're not. You should be in business. You should have some kind of team. I mean, that's kind of who we're talking to. Not necessarily solopreneurs. However, you can execute on all this.
Yeah, and we've talked about fractional work before. You can hire somebody for a project.
Right.
So if it's something that you're not comfortable doing, get some perspective, have somebody take a look at your brand, and then hire somebody for a one-shot project.
Right.
And okay, here's what you want to fix. Here's what you want to fix, and you can get a proposal, or you can get pricing, and you can say, okay, well, that's within my budget, or I'll do some of these things on my own. Figure that out. But there's so many opportunities out there. The big thing is you want your messaging and your work and the people you're reaching out to and that you want to attract. You want all those things. I call it parallel lanes, right? You want them all be running in the same direction, side by side.
Yep.
And that's going to help you grow your business.
100%. And check your ego at the door. This isn't about ego.
Right.
This is about opportunity.
Correct.
Customers are judging.
Right.
The question is, are you prepared for the evaluation? And you and I both know this. You don't always get paid for how good you are.
Right.
Sometimes you get paid for how good you appear.
And
there are plenty of stories of people who bought in, that's where terms like I bought a bill of goods or whatever come from. We're not talking about that. If you're selling yourself, if you're selling your product or service at a high level, we want you need to be able to deliver.
Correct.
Right. This isn't about manipulation or anything like that. But this is about presenting yourself in the most positive light so you don't lose opportunities. I go into everything. I mean, I assume our audience is good at what they do.
Right.
That's our listeners.
Correct.
Because people who suck don't take the time to listen to business growth podcasts, right? Or people who are trying to get over or scam people or whatever generally don't listen to those things. So I assume you're the best insurance agent, you're the best landscaper, you're the best baker, you're the best CMO out there, whatever.
Right.
So growth in 2026, right? If you want that, if you want more pricing power, if you want more inbound opportunities, then your presentation must match that ambition. Point blank.
Well, and you better believe it.
And your presentation can determine profitability because if people believe in you and they are confident that you can do what you say you can do, they're willing to pay more for it.
I like it. Let's leave it there.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. And next time, bring a friend.
That's right, folks. Thank you for that. Well, wake up. Boop, 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 boop. It's a late podcast today, folks. It's an evening podcast we're doing today.
Right.
So, but had to still keep our energy high, still keep our came to play.
Came strong.
Yeah. Now, when he cuts this thing off, who knows what's going to happen? But right now, you're getting full throttle.
That's 100%
Graham and Mosley out here now. So,
100%.
So with that said, I want to thank you guys as always for tuning in. On behalf of this has been another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. On behalf of myself, LG007, and Willie H, we will see you next time. Willie H, take us out.
This reminds me, you had a speaker reel the first time I saw it, I about lost it. It was the guy that you asked him what he did, and he said consult.
Yeah, no, he said right. He said that he was a life coach.
Life coach.
Yeah.
And you're like, you looked at his shoes and you go, full time?
Yeah, can't be. All right, listen, run over shoes, no haircut. I mean, and you know you were going to an event, and that we were at an event with Keith Ferrazzi.
Oh wow, okay.
So,
sure.
Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Like a great networking opportunity for you.
100%.
But there was like, no, you couldn't have sold me on that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just like the guy that told me he does coaching. What do you charge? $99. You can't be good.
Right. Wait, so who?
You can't be good. Yeah. Like, or you're just Mother Teresa of coaching.
Right.
Like you're just leaving it all on the floor and you don't care about lights.
Right.
You know, or paying bills. So I don't know. But solid.
So good.
I think we got it done.
Good. Yeah, appreciate it.
you.
All right. On to a century. On to a century.